Today, our goal is to answer one question. Is America getting the best? Never have I ever done an episode where it required us to do this much content being written on the board ever. If you turn on the news, if you turn on TV, if you watch social media podcasts, everybody's talking about immigration, Somalia, all the fraud that's happening, the border, ICE, everybody's talking about it. So we're gonna break it down by what religion produces the most billionaires, what religion produces the most millionaires, what countries that send the people here, what do they do when they come here? How many of them make it a safer place, a better place? How many of them join the military? How many of them want to serve in the country? How many of them want to take entitlement programs? It is so revealing by the time you watch it that you're going to ask for all the notes. It took us a few weeks to do the research, 70 pages of notes. I'll show you how to get it. Having said that, let's get right into it. Okay, so if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. 3 things I want you to be thinking about. Whether you start a country, or you start a company, or you start a sports team, what do you want the people that come to your country to do? If it's a country, you want them to assimilate. If it's a company culture, you want them to acclimate. If you're a head coach with players coming to your team, you want them to acclimate to your standards. So now, let's focus on the word assimilate. What is the definition of assimilate? To assimilate means to take in, adapt to, and become part of something bigger, whether ideas, culture, or substance. Okay, interesting. We'll get into that here in a minute, but I want to show you something here. There's 5 things we came up with to have it here as things you want to make that company, the country, a better place. Number 1 is economic contribution. If you're running a country, you want me to come to your country, the most important thing is what? Can you please contribute to our economy? Which means what? Buy a home, start a business, create jobs, have a job, pay taxes, invest into the business, professional development, learn a new skill set, support local businesses, produce more than you consume. Very basic. You came to our country, we'd like you to do this, but this is 1 out of the 5 pillars. Let's go to the second one. Second one is family and social continuity. Have kids, right? Raise law-abiding citizens. Stay involved as a parent, care for elderly, take care of your parents, teach civic at the house, work ethic, respect, and responsibility. Basic so far, nothing crazy, right? Okay, you want people like this. 3, we want them to have civic and cultural integration. Speak the language. You live in America, speak the language. Obey the laws, respect constitutional values, and resolve disputes peacefully. Things happen in your community, resolve it, but be peaceful about it. 4, service duty and community. Join the military, right? One of the best things I ever did is join the Army. Volunteer, coach and mentor the youth. Donate your time, protect public spaces. Very simple. You live here, give back to society. We have stats on what religion joins the military the most that comes to America. Some of these numbers I show you, I guarantee you 99.9% of you guys have never seen this before. And last but not least, it's what? Character and conduct, okay? Which means what? Keep your commitments, show up on time, take responsibility for your mistake, do not commit violent and financial crimes, leave places better than you found them. Okay, so we got this stat as the basis of what it is if you want to build a country, what the commitment of the people are out there that we want to bring in. So then, we have to ask ourselves 2 questions. One is, what religion produces the best results? Remember at the beginning, the more people have to lose, the safer the society is. Meaning, if we can get people to own a house, have a business, have a job, pay taxes, have kids, involved in the community, they want to make that place a better place. So what religion produces the most results for people to be financially free, responsible, so they make sure that community they live in is safer? Watch this. Here's what data shows. Again, get upset at the data. The data shows the following. Right now, population by percentage, if we look at this, Christians are 2.65 billion of the population of the world, 2.65 billion people, that's 32%. Muslims are 2.05 billion, 25%. Hindus 1.25 billion, 15%. Buddhists are 324 million, 4.1%. And then you have Jews, 15.2 million, only 0.2% of the population. So then we went to the next one. Which one produces the most billionaires by religion? And here's what we noticed, okay? Christians are 32% of the population in the world. They produce 33% of all billionaires. Muslims, who are 25% of the world, they produce 7% of all the billionaires. You may say, well, it's not all about wealth. And where does this money go to? Believe it or not, a lot of the wealth is coming from hierarchical families who are from, royal families or oil. But we'll get to that as well, right? 25% Muslim, 7%. If you go over here, Hindus, 15%, they drop to 10%. And then you have Buddhists, they're 4.1%. They only produce 4% of billionaires. Jews are 0.2% of the world population, but they produce 19% of billionaires. But watch what happens. Because you may say, well, who cares if it's billionaires? That doesn't really matter. It's got to be about millionaires. I agree. So now let's go to millionaires. So Christians produce 33% of billionaires. Do you think they produce now more millionaires or billionaires, right? Makes you think. So you have to look at, is this number going to go higher or lower? And Muslims, they have 2 billion of the world population, only 7% of the world's billionaires, but they should go higher with millionaires, right? Because they got more people. Here's what happens. If we go to share of millionaires, this is what you'll see. Christians go from 33% to 56%. So as good as the Christian religion is at producing billionaires, they are much better at producing millionaires. Think about that. The principles that are taught produces independent people that take care of their families, make their society and community a safer place. Forget about the debate about Jesus, Prophet Muhammad. I'm not debating religion. I'm telling you what's taught in the book produces these types of results. Watch the next one, okay? Then you have non-religious, which was 25% of billionaires. Here it goes to 31% of millionaires, more millionaires. But watch what happens to Muslim. They go from 7% to 6.4%. They produce fewer millionaires than billionaires. You know what that means? They keep the wealth at the top. Christians get the wealth to go bottom because they produce more millionaires. Muslims keep the wealth at the top. Do you see the correlation between these two? Let me continue for you here. And then when we go to Jews, their millionaires drop from 19% to 1.9%. Why? Because their population is only 15 million people. They don't have 2 billion Muslims. What's the population on this side with Jews? What's the number? 15.2 million. So they drop to 1.9, and then Buddhists drop from 4% to 1.2, and Hindu goes from 10% to only 4.2% of millionaires. This is purely what is taught and results. You can go investigate all of this, and I encourage you to do so. Let's go look at the top 20 countries that produce the most billionaires, and what religion do these countries have? What's the majority of religion of these countries? Here's what we noticed. US, 902 billionaires. Combined wealth of that country is $150 trillion in US. Christian nation, mainly Protestant is what it has here. China's number 2, they produce 450 billionaires, 85 trillion, yet their population is 5 times what it is in the US. India's next at 205, 15 trillion. Germany's 171 billionaires, 18 trillion. Russia is 140, 9 trillion. Canada's got 76 billionaires. Italy's got 74 billionaires. Hong Kong's got 66. Brazil's 56. Still, every one of these names, not one of them is a Muslim majority country yet. Why not? Why is it not? Brazil, UK 55, Taiwan 54, France, Singapore, Australia, Sweden, Switzerland, Japan, Israel, Spain. At the 20th spot is Indonesia with 33 billionaires, and the combined wealth in that country is $4.5 trillion. Why are we looking at this? You'll see where we're going with this. If we continue to this side, here's what you would see. The population in US is 335 million, but remember the combined wealth in the US is what, 150 trillion. If we take 150 trillion, we divide it by 335 million, you're gonna get roughly average net worth per capita in the US is $447,000. Average net worth per capita, if you just divide, this is not median. You'd like, for example, Elon Musk ruins this average. You know what I'm saying? He's got 750 billion, and you take a homeless person, your average of 2 out. A homeless person with Elon Musk, the average per capita of those 2 people is what? $375 billion. You kind of see where I'm going with this. But still, the average in US is 447, China's 60,000, and you go all the way down. India's 10,000, Germany is 214. There's countries that are above America, by the way. For instance, Canada's 390. Credit, we make fun of Canada a lot, but their GDP is bigger than Russia's GDP. I think they got a 2.3 trillion GDP. I think Russia's got a 2.2 trillion out of GDP. Look at Hong Kong, 800,000. Why 800,000? They got 11 trillion, but they got 7.5 million people. So then you'll come down here, you'll look at certain numbers, you'll see Singapore's 847, you'll see Australia's 518, Sweden is 523, Switzerland's 898, bigger than America, but then Indonesia is what? Net worth per capita is what? $16,000. Why? Because it's 4.5 trillion divided by what? 277 million people, okay? Again, if your ideology or philosophy or religion at the top, that's the foundation of the country, produces results, your people win. This shows your people are losing under this regime and under this religion. Now, does that mean everybody is? No, not everybody. Hang tight with me here. Watch this. Muslim majority countries. You got Pakistan, only 4 billionaires, yet they have 245 million people that live there. Think about it. 245 million people live there, only 4 billionaires. Bangladesh, 175 million people live there, 0 to 1 billionaires. Nigeria, 4 to 5 billionaires, 230 million people live there. Egypt, 113 million people live there, 5 billionaires. Iran, 0 to 1, 89 million amazing people live there. Turkey, 10 to 15, 86 million people live there. Turkey at least produces billionaires. Algeria, 1 to 2, 46. Sudan, 0 to 1, 48 million. Iraq, 0. Afghanistan, 0. Watch this. Total wealth by these countries, if we look at it, 1.6 trillion, Pakistan. Then you got 1.4, 2.4. Look at the bottom. Afghanistan is 0.2 trillion. The combined net worth of that country with 42 million is only $200 billion, okay? Iraq is 1.2 trillion, 45 million. Sudan is 0.6 trillion, which is 600 billion. This means Elon Musk could buy Sudan and Afghanistan together and make it his country if he were to buy the real estate. Obviously, I'm being a little bit, kidding here, but you get what I'm saying. Watch the wealth. Ready? Net worth per capita, $6,600, $8,100, $4,000 in Afghanistan. All of these numbers you look at and you say to yourself, why? Why? Why do you have hundreds of millions of people who are this poor? Why? What are you teaching? We're living in a world of YouTube. Content is everywhere. Why can't you open up the universities, some of these universities we have in America that are online, and you can educate your people so the economy can get better? Why not? Why don't these people have the same opportunities that many of these countries in the top 20? Now, by the way, let's go to the next ones, the outliers, Saudi, UAE, and Qatar. But why is it that they have 36 billionaires in Saudi, 23 in UAE, 15 in Qatar? Why? Why is it that the total wealth is 7.3, 4.5, 2.2? Total population 36, 9.53 million. Net capita, ready? 202,000 in Saudi, 473,000 in UAE, 733,000 in Qatar. FYI, you know what they have in common that's different than these countries? They have zero tolerance for crime. Go ahead and commit a crime in these countries, see what happens to you. Go ahead. By the way, FYI, on top of that, people who come to these countries, mainly these two, because I think Qatar just changed it, there's something called the kafala system. You know how immigration works? I want valuetainment. I sign you off and say, I'm willing to accept the risk of this guy that just came here from whatever country, Bangladesh, Philippines. I'll take him. If you break the law, I pay the government $100,000 to $1 million in fines. So imagine I bring terrible immigration, 9 people, I go broke. I'm not responsible at choosing who's good, who's not, right? And then that is starting a business in UAE, they have a law that 51% of the business needs to be owned by a local. So they have certain guidelines. So basic question for you. If you are running America, you're running a country, would you rather have immigrants come from here or here? You gotta ask yourself the question. And why? Because they produce better results. I want to show you the history of immigration in America because it's important to realize how we came here. So watch this. 1790 to 1840, we have the founding era. This is the WASP blueprint, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. This is how America got started. Population was mainly English, Scottish, Dutch, 80% Protestant. Naturalization, if you wanted to become a naturalized citizen in 1790, you had to be a white, non-slave. Number 2, you had to live here for 2 years. Number 3, you have to have a good moral character. They defined it. If you're good with those areas, you become a citizen. This is how America got started. Catholics were known as the limited religious minority. The first time John F. Kennedy ran for office, like, oh my God, can America handle a Catholic becoming a president? Guess what? Nobody thinks about it anymore. Biden was also Catholic. Number two is the Catholic way. Millions of Irish German Catholics fleeing famine in Ireland, and political unrest in Germany from 1840 to 1880 came to the States. Chinese laborers also arrived in the 1850s for railroad and gold rush, introducing Buddhism and Confucianism, but banned from becoming citizens in America. Okay, banned from becoming citizens in America. Then we go to the industrial. This is very interesting what Ford did. Very, very interesting what Ford did. From 1880 to 1924, great wave of 20 million people came here from Italy, Poland, Russian Jews, Eastern Europeans who went to the East generally, and then Asian, Chinese, and Japanese came to the West. This is when we had the Ellis Island from 1890 to about 1950, something like that. And then Henry Ford pioneered something, the melting pot thing that we hear about. Apparently somebody else came up with, but he took ownership of it. Is to follow it. Brilliant idea. He created the Americanization program in his company, and here's how it worked. The Ford English School required you to attend these courses if you wanted to get the bigger wage of $5 per hour. Okay, $5 per day, I think is what it was. Okay, watch what happens. You had to take English classes, you had to take civic classes, you had to take moral education classes, you had to take patriotic graduation classes, and then there's a ceremony. And guess what the inspection was? Your manager would come to your house to see how you live with your wife and kids. Can you imagine? Let me see where you sleep. Where do you cook? Let me see the kitchen. That's what Ford would do back in the days. The managers would come to your house to make sure you came to America. Have you assimilated? How do you live? Do you live like we live? And that became the melting pot concept under Ford. Mid-20th century post-war reforms after World War II and the Holocaust prompted humanitarian changes. Displaced Person Act of 1948 admitted 400,000 European refugees, including many Jews and Orthodox Christians. Restrictions for Asians eased, which means they can now become naturalized citizens. By 1960, this is very important data to look at because things changed right after this. By 1960, the U.S. was 70% white, roughly 65% of those to 70 were Protestant. Then the rest was Catholic. Then 5% unaffiliated. You got, atheists. 3% were Jews, less than 1% were non-Christians. Non-Christians, less than 1%. And then this guy named Lyndon Johnson, who had a tendency of coming up with shitty policies, came up with another bad one. And this one was called the Hurt-Celler Act of 1965. And he said it was supposed to bring a bunch of skilled laborers. And he says, this is not a big deal. It's not going to impact America at all. Don't worry about it. His line was, this law would not dramatically change America's demographic, and he was royally wrong on what happened here. Watch this. In 1965, pre-Hart-Celler, these are the two senators I think that came up with this law here. Pre-1965, America was 84% white, non-Hispanic, 4% Hispanic Latino, 1% Asian American. Then you have the other 5% were foreign-born population, 90% were Christians. Muslim population was 100,000 in 1960. By 2026, white non-Hispanic goes from 84% to 57%. Hispanic goes from 4 to 20%. Asian American goes from 1 to 7%. Foreign-born population 5 to 15%. Dominant religion 90% Christian goes to 63% Christian, 30% non-affiliated, and Muslims went from 100,000 to 500,000. And by the way, this is what it looks like Muslim population in the U.S. 1950, we had 20 to 30,000. 60, it went to 100,000, then 500,000, now 4.5 million. In America, went from 0.02% of the population to 1.3%. That's 65x of population in the last 76 years is what they've done. They're dominating the level of growth in America. You got to give them credit because they want to come here. So now, going back to it, there's a few things I wanted to find out. And our team, Connor, Humberto did a great job. I want to find out, remember these 5 things we want you to contribute? Civic was learning, and service was joining the military. Let's see which religion that comes to America joins the military the most by portion of the percentage of their religion. Not confusing it like we have 3 million people, 30 million people in the military, I'm making up numbers, and only 30,000 are Muslims. Oh, they're a small percentage. No. By comparison, so the number is the right number that we're looking at. Participation rate, Protestants is 0.45%. Catholics is 0.41%. Atheists, 0.32%. Buddhists, 0.22%. And Buddhists don't like to go to war. I think they even have certain things in place that they don't want to go in the military. Orthodox Christian, 0.18%. Muslims is 0.15%. Jews are 0.7%. Hindus, 0.4%. They don't join the military. Jews and Hindus don't join the military. They join the IDF, but they don't join our military. Now, somebody may say, well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Yes, a very valid argument. But let me go a little bit deeper in this. Watch this. As we go into this, entitlement programs. These numbers came about from Minnesota, okay, on how much the folks in Minnesota that are coming from Somalia rely on welfare and entitlement programs. And there's two charts. One is household. This could be single. The other one is household with kids. No kids, kids. Maybe there's a correlation, maybe there's not. Maybe it's mainly people with kids that take advantage of the most entitlement programs. Look at this. The orange that you see here is native households. Any welfare, 21%. Somali immigrant households, 81%. So maybe after 10 years, they get off of it, right? Nope. Somali immigrant household 10 years later, nothing changed. From 81% to 78%. Do you want more of this coming here? Yes or no? You're paying for it if you live in America. Cash, 6%, 27.5, nothing changes. Food stamps, Americans, native households, 7%. Food stamps, 54%. 10 years later, no kids. 48, why are we giving you food stamps 10 years later, no kids? Maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. Get a flipping job like the rest of us. Medicare, 18%, 73 to 68. And the ones with kids, look what happens, even higher. You get the drift? Nothing changes. So why would you as a taxpayer, when we talked about earlier, if we want people to come here to contribute, skin in the game, why would you attract people from a country that comes in and just takes all the taxpayers' money and expect you to go to work so they can stay home and take the food? Why would you do that? The way I process anything, just like a CEO, if you and I run a company and you hire 28 students that came from one university, they're all reckless. They all have bad habits. Would you want another 28 students coming from that college? Probably not. If you're a head coach at a college, at a big university, you got 30 players that came from this high school under this coach that all of them smoke weed, all of them are troublemakers, all of them were hoodlums, none of them are disciplined, bad habits, don't come up to practice. Would you want more players coming from that coach? Now flip it. That coach, if 38 players came to you, 36 of them had 3.0 GPA and higher, 32 of them were incredible students, incredible athletes, and 17 of them made it to the NFL. Don't you want more players from that head coach? Of course you do. Do you care what the religion is? No. Do you care what his denomination is? No. Do you care what his skin color is? No. What do you care about? Results is what we care about. And unfortunately, and fortunately, this is all stats. You can go argue this all you want, or you can do what? And say, you know what? If I'm these countries, hey man, we got to start asking the question, why is that the case? Go do your research. Well, why do these countries, 19 out of 20, Protestant, atheist, Hindu, Protestant, Orthodox, Catholic, atheist, Catholic, Protestant, Buddhism, Catholic, Buddhist, Protestant, Catholic, Shinto Buddhist, Jewish, why do they produce better results than they do? I don't know. But you need to go a little bit deeper and find out why that is. There are certain things that don't add up. So one may say, if you're going to come here and you're not going to assimilate and contribute to the society, to American society, what are we doing getting more of those people coming here from whatever country it is? Complicated conversation, very sensitive conversation. I am certain I didn't make a lot of new friends from certain communities, but I'm willing to bet the right people watch this and said, about time somebody showed some data that we can finally find out why this is taking place. We want a safer society, so when our kids go to school, you're not worried about it. If you're watching this saying, you know what, this kind of makes sense to me, share it with other people. If you're watching this saying, I cannot believe you said this, comment below. I want to read your content. You want to connect me directly and say something to me directly as well, my handle is going to be somewhere here. And if you're watching this right now saying, man, I love this episode, I want more stuff like this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And all the notes we got here will be in the PBD Entrepreneur Circle on Manek for free. All you have to do is go download the app and get the notes. Go through all the data we gave you. And if you enjoyed this video, you want to watch another video like this, I did a video many years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, titled, Why I Love Chapelism. If you've never seen it, click here to watch. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.